These bills are set down for third reading next sitting day. So we now call on Government Order of the Day number 4.
Road User Charges Bill, second reading.
Honourable Nathan Guy.
Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Transport, I move that the Road User Charges Bill be now read a second time. I'd like to thank members of the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee for their hard work on this bill. I acknowledge the Chair, David Bennett, and his team. Road user charges are paid by users of diesel vehicles as their contribution to the development and maintenance of New Zealand's road network. This bill brings about the most significant reform to the RUC system since it was introduced in 1978. The bill aims to simplify and modernise the system, provide the opportunity for lower compliance costs and reduce the level of RUC evasion. The bill was referred to the Transport and Industrial Relations Committee in February. The committee considered 41 submissions and heard 20 submitters and has recommended a number of technical changes to the bill. I believe that the bill is better for these changes. A focus for submitters were provisions of the bill that move the RUC system from one based on a vehicle's actual gross weight, as nominated by a vehicle's operator, to one based on a vehicle's maximum permissible on-road weight. Operators will now be charged according to the capacity of their vehicle rather than an estimate of its total weight. The cost being recovered will effectively be averaged across similar-sized vehicles. I do appreciate that some submitters are concerned about what this means for RUC that they pay. Overall, the change will be revenue neutral, but invariably there will be some winners and losers. RUC rates will be set in regulations under the new RUC bill, and the Ministry of Transport will consult with those affected on the content of these regulations. Assigning each vehicle a fixed RUC weight will make purchasing RUC licences easier and reduce operating compliance costs. It will also eliminate weight-based error and fraud in the purchase of RUC licences. The committee has recommended a change to Clause 12 of the bill to provide greater flexibility for individuals operating vehicles at weights above their normal maximum limit to pay their additional RUC. A redrafted Clause 12 provides two options for purchasing RUC for vehicles operating overweight. This flexibility reflects the variation in circumstances under which vehicles may operate with overweight or high productivity permits. The committee also recommended changes to the record-keeping requirements in the bill to ensure a balance is struck between retaining records that are needed to make an assessment of a person's RUC obligations and the costs of holding those records. The committee has limited the scope of records to be kept and the duration for which they must be retained, ensuring that the bill creates no unreasonable compliance costs. A number of submitters interpret provisions in the bill as making electronic distance recorders mandatory for heavy vehicles. This is not the case. The bill provides an improved regulatory framework that will enable, not mandate, the use of technology. Operators will continue to have the choice of using an electronic system or continuing with the paper RUC licences and hubbometers. The reform RUC system will be supported by new regulations made under the bill. As I mentioned previously, the Ministry of Transport intend to consult with those affected on the content of the regulations. Finally, Mr Speaker, I would like to ask the House to consider at the appropriate time a supplementary order paper that will make minor improvements and correct a number of minor errors and omissions. In conclusion, this bill will simplify and modernise the RUC system. It will reduce compliance costs for operators, eliminate the scope for error and fraud in the purchase of RUC licences, and simplify enforcement and administration requirements. I commend this bill to the House.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Darian Fenton.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Well, it's